Howdy. So, we started playing Minecraft a little while ago, and we started with a server that I had hosted myself, and we've since migrated to using a realm, and so I don't know that we will ever really come back to our original world that we had, and so I thought it might be interesting to just document our little world because the things can get corrupt, things can get deleted, but it might be fun to just document what we had as a little memory of our uh, initial foray into Minecraft. So when we first started, world spawn wasn't far from where I'm at now, and so um, I just built Ruby this little house, Ruby's first house from Dad. And then just gave her some of the basic stuff, furnace, a bed, a chest. Um, and that was fine to just sort of get us started and then, start doing some exploring. As we explored and, just began to learn more about Minecraft, we learned about villages and how we probably want to be close to a village. And so we started exploring around and trying to figure out if there's a village nearby that might make sense for us to set up a new base a little bit closer to. And so after we had sort of, started there, got the feel for um, just how Minecraft works, then we discovered, and with our exploration, we discovered this village that is not too far by. And so once we discovered this, we decided, okay, let's set up a new base of operations a little bit closer to the village because there's lots of advantages to being close to the village. And so I'll break this boat. So this, for probably a majority or a good solid chunk of the beginning of our time, this was our base of operations. So we have, um, as we've called it, the smiley face house, because when I built it, I thought I'd add a little bit of my own little flair and build it with the smiley face. So the smiley face house was sort of our key base. The village is right there, so very accessible. We had, all the plenty of storage for all of our needs, some of the core things that made sense for us to have. We did have a little basement. This is just mostly for additional storage that I carved out. Then we set up our little bedrooms. So me, of course, with my orange bed, Ruby with her green bed. And then once Arlo started playing, we gave him a bed too, just so we have a spare bed for anybody that may need it. Obviously, want to keep this door closed because things can still spawn on the roof. So on the roof, we got set up with some beehives, and then we got some dispensers with plates, and so that can harvest the honey. Obviously, this one's out of bottles. You can harvest honey or honeycomb. Um, and since it's through the pressure plate, it doesn't make the bees angry. So that was a fun little addition, so we can have our little beekeeping. Then thought it might be fun to have a little observational tower. So built a tower up top where we can see a lot of the surrounding land and continue exploring. And so that's pretty much the core of our house. Where it was really our base. We discovered that there it was basically almost straight underneath there was a cavern. Um, and so when I first started discovering it, um, actually I'll just show from how we first discovered it. So first discovered it because we were over here, we were checking out the village. And then as we just continued to explore the area, we discovered that there was um, a passage or a cavern. And so carved out some steps to go check out the cavern. slowly and surely built these stairs down so that we could start checking it out a little bit. Did some exploring here. We got some water. We got some glow squids. I think over here is where we'll see. Um, as we continue to just explore and put some torches so that everybody could see what was going on and there's fewer people to attack us, then I was like, there might be an easier way to access this. And so I ended up building an access over here so that we could continue to explore the cave, um, but make it a little bit easier to get in and out of. And so I built this column ladder, and as you can see, we pop out right over here by the smiley face house. Started this checkerboard tower as just a fun, more decorative thing, and you can see we have it connected with a Minecraft track, basically from the smiley face house, goes all the way up to the checkerboard tower. And then we started exploring a little bit and decided we want to try to check out some things in the Nether. I had heard that sometimes things can follow you back through portals, so I wanted to sort of enclose it and put it away. So sort of semi-hidden, we have another portal. So we can hit to the Nether. I had found a fortress, so I logged its coordinates there. So if we wanted to go try to find another fortress to get blaze and stuff, we could do that. This all worked pretty well for us for a good long while we explored the area. One really cool thing about this map that we started on was that there's a lot of biomes nearby. So there's the snow biome is like right over here, which has been cool, and then I think rainforest is not far that way. That was me playing around with making a waterfall out of both lava and water. But it's been a pretty good spread. But so while this was our base of operations for a long time, before I think this might have been before I could figure out, or no, so I had the hardest time remembering where our house was. And so when I would go out exploring, just finding new maps, because I think I might have moved them, but I had started making maps. And it turns out I really like making maps in Minecraft. But I had started making maps, but I kept exploring, and then kind of forgetting where our house was. And so because of that, I decided that we should probably make a house in a better place. And so I did some thinking about what could I do, because I tried to maybe log it, like put it in books, but you can't really take the books. I tried to figure out if there was places you could put information on the server. So is there any place where I could write something that anybody that's on the server could look at it? Wasn't able to really figure out anything there. And so I said, okay, well, what's the easiest thing to remember? Like, well, how about we just relocate to 00? And so, oh, I guess I can show. Oh, I don't have to do that. So first mine, before we leave this area, we also, you always got to be mining to get the ingredients you need for various things. So started a mine over here. We don't have to go down there. But obviously close proximity to the house is really handy. And so then I decided, okay, well, if I'm having trouble remembering, this 250 minus 261, instead of just continually trying to remember it and failing, I was like, well, how about we just head to the map's 00 point? Because if I get to the map's 00 point, that is definitely a coordinate that I can remember. And so I decided to do that and set up a new base over by 00, because I thought, like I said, that would make it a little bit easier for everybody to remember, and easy to tell people, easy for anybody to remember. Ruby had some fun explorations as well, building random little tower houses. And so we'll head over to 00, which is our current main base, at least for Ruby and me, because this was still when it was mostly just Ruby and me playing before her brother had really started joining in. And so, I went over, found 00, turned out that 00 was on water, so that made things a little more interesting because I couldn't just start building a house. But so I had to build a connector, um, made this pathway out. Thought it'd be fun to line it with all sorts of different kinds of trees. That's our current mine. So you go over there, and that's where the current mine is. So this is a lot more better equipped because this is where we've been pretty much working from. Since I had to go ahead and put it in the water, I thought it would be fun to make this a little basement. And so built this basement out of glass so we can, go downstairs and see and look around in the water. Thought that'd be kind of a cool feature of the house. And then come up here, this is all our storage. Obviously got a lot better at organizing things into the categories so we know where everything um, goes, and some basic organization of how everything came together. Um, at each level, I have some kind of feature. So we have fishing balcony. So put it out here so that we can, go and fish off the balcony. It was a sort of a safe place to hang out and fish if we wanted to fish. Also, this is so I put that. You may have noticed the copper block on the first floor, and then I put the glass. You can see that's at 00. So we are at 00 here, so right in the middle of the house. So I sort of made that sort of a feature of the house to denote where that 00 point is. The next is kind of sparse as the bedrooms. So again, orange for me, green for Ruby. This is when I started getting into the maps a little bit more. And so you can see where our house is there. Like you don't have to go far till you have this cool snow biome. And then, several different biomes that are all pretty close, especially these can be pretty awesome. And so that was really a cool feature to have nearby. This is a more zoomed out version. So you can see there's really a lot accessible from this location. So we got really lucky with this map seed. Wanted to have bees here. So same thing. Instead of the pressure plate, I decided to use the handles. So you can just harvest either honeycomb or honey, depending on which one you choose. Then up here we have some netherwort growing. We have our enchanting table surrounded by our bookshelves to enhance our enchantments. And then we also still have our roof access, so we can grow some bamboo, we can grow some sugar cane, we grew some wheat here too. So that was our little reminders, because if you don't chop the bottom section, it keeps growing back. So just make sure everybody is aware. Oh, and then also on this top level of the house, I built a little sunset balcony. So this is facing the way, so when the sun sets, the sun sets right here. And so it's just a little viewing balcony for the sunset, which was, I thought, a fun little addition. And so then we over here you can see the glass basement. I think over here I set up a conduit here to try that out. So you can see the effect is active. I don't have to breathe right here. So that was kind of cool. This was definitely our learn how everything works world. I won't climb it because it takes forever, but thought it would be funny to build a little tower that goes. Oh, actually, I will climb it because people can always fast forward. So at the time, it may have changed now, but at the time, this was built to the build height. So as high as you can possibly go without that Minecraft will let you build. So I could not have built it any higher at the time, but thought that that would be kind of funny to try out, because it's on a small little island. So not only do you have a tower where you have a cool view, because you're obviously at the very tip top of what you can do without being able to fly, but you can also jump off because there's no limit to how far you can fall and then be safe to land in water. So I thought it'd be kind of funny to have this like super high, almost like a cliff diving tower. As you can see, to get to the build height, it does take some time because you can only go so fast up the ladder. But still thought it would be an interesting and fun feature to add to our little world. And so this is as high as it was able to build, and I thought it'd be cool. You probably can't see it as much because it's both nighttime and raining, but you have a little viewing, and then this is the where you get to jump. And so you can fall, 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 and it's almost like skydiving. Splash. And then around this time, Arlo started playing too, and so he didn't really want to join in to just play our place, and so the smiley face house sort of became mine and his, while this remained Ruby in my house. But since he inherited it, he kind of was more interested in having something that was more his own, so not just something that he had inherited um, from his sister. So I'm gonna just not too far. I'm gonna journey over here. It turned out that, with a little bit more exploration, there was another village not far this way, and so we decided that I could set up a little base of operations for him that would be sort of him and my house, and it would be also close to a village because that's always just a handy place to be. And so this one, we actually had checked out a book from the library, as we tend to do, about Minecraft builds and different ideas and different types of structures that you can build, and just basically a bunch of ideas. And so I had actually taken one of the books that he had gotten, and that's where I got the idea for our house. So they had one that was a like in like built-in mountain house, so it was a house that was sort of built into the side of a mountain. And so since that was a little more different than what I'd built in the past, I thought that that would be fun, and it'd just kind of be fun to take one of those builds from people who obviously had a lot more experience in Minecraft, and try to implement it myself. So that's what I did over here. So we have this village, and then not far from the village, we set up a house for me and Arlo. Now you can see this is why we have an iron door, because these villagers keep trying to get in our little house, and so this is our little built side inside the mountain house. Because I actually built it, I think, a little too close to the village, so they can, I guess, sense that I have beds in there. There's a little cow pasture, and so because of that, I ended up having to build a side entrance, so that because there were several times that we had villagers come and sneak into our house when we were trying to go into our house, and then especially with the iron door, it can be very tricky to get them out. And so this is the main entrance, and now the villager's getting beat up by the zombie because he decided to just hang out in front of my house instead of go into his own. And so we have a little Arlo's room, and he has his own storage. Daddy's room, I have my storage. And then we have our little rooms for like furnaces, and then brewing and an anvil, and we also have our little enchanting room for doing enchantments. After I built this and I started just expanding it backwards, I realized that it ended up hitting a cavern, and so I thought it'd be cool to have sort of a viewing room. So we have this whole big cavern that is essentially just connected to our little house, experimenting with some artwork. Needed some more storage, so started building this up here. And then this also worked kind of out because I wanted to make a path so we can go not only can we see the dungeon, but we can explore it. But then we also have a minecart fed mine. And so this is where Arlo and I had our mine to go mine stuff. But we can also go down here and have access to the cavern. And so, I've obviously explored this a lot with all the torches everywhere. But there's multiple levels to it. You can go explore down there, which I've done plenty of as well. But that's sort of a cool feature of our little house too. That we have this huge cavern that's just right connected to our little built into the mountain house. And so the 0-0 house was been the main base of operations for Ruby and me, and then this is the real main base of operations for Arlo and me. And then that's pretty much the state of this world. There's a couple other things. We built some other little houses, and actually I think Arlo, don't go in my house. Okay, good. So one day I was having fun, and so I built this to greet Arlo the next time he came. So you can see in the distance, I just made a big hi Arlo. And then you can always tell when Arlo's been playing because he loves to dye the sheep different colors. So you can always swoop through. Oh, yellow sheep! You know that Arlo's been playing in this area, which is kind of funny. And so I think the last thing that I will include in this is once we sort of changed our base of operations here, I believe I tried to make wanted to get closer to a fortress to be able to get blaze and stuff like that. And so the nether portal that I had over by the smiley face house, while I had the coordinates noted, I think there was still a solid way I had to go before I could get to the fortress. And so to see if I could find a better entrance point, I had created a portal over here in closer to one of the sand biomes or desert biomes. And so, and you can also see in the distance that in the cave that is connected to Arlo and my house, we found a geode. And so we harvested all of the geode amethyst, and Arlo wanted to build his own little amethyst house. So he came over here and built his own little amethyst house out of the amethyst that we got from the geode. So he was very excited about that. Then here I had a bit of a base of operations. You see a pillager tower in the distance for when I wanted to go do stuff in the nether. And so I made this little sand house so that, can stop here. If I need to respawn, I'd respawn close to the nether, and then have anything that I need here, or just anything that I didn't want to carry so that I had more capacity when I was going to the nether. But here, when I first did it, started exploring over here, I decided that I was, again, because of the concern that something might come back through the portal, I ended up building that portal way up top so that anything that would come out of the portal would not have an easy time getting around. But it turns out that really doesn't happen that often, so I just built this one here, and so they both go to the same place, and so it was just as simple to do it right here, right outside my little house, instead of trying to always climb up to the top of that tower every time I wanted to go to the nether, and whenever I needed to, if I had died and needed to try to get back to all my stuff. And I don't know, I forgot to mention at the beginning, but this is a classic survival server, so we learned all about dying and dropping our stuff and everything like that. And so this was definitely the learning experience when it came to learning about Minecraft, how Minecraft works, and all that stuff. And so, yeah, that's pretty much the tour of our Minecraft server that I wanted to log. So if we never log back in again, we at least have something to look back on about all the progress that we made and all the fun that we had learning how Minecraft works on our own little server.